Hi class, Coach Nash here. Welcome to the spring semester. This is our first 8-week Mat Pilates class, and this is day one. Day one is our assessment, so we aren't doing any traditional sessions today. I'm going right into this assessment, and what's going to happen is I'm going to talk about it, demonstrate it, and then you're going to practice and write down your results. So you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil or pen or your phone to put down your results for each exercise, so make sure you do that. If you happen to have the form, you're just going to write down your results in all the number ones, the column to the left of the form. Since we only do this 2 times, at the beginning of the semester and at the end of the semester, you'll be answering all the number ones in the number 1 column, okay? So we're only doing this, each exercise 1 time. Sometimes that confuses people. Because we haven't learned anything, right? I haven't taught you anything. We haven't gone through anything, and we're going right into this assessment. There's obviously a huge learning curve here. So you're going to do the best that you can with the given information from me today in the demonstration. And then you're just going to write down your result, and then you're going to put your results into the form and then send that off to me, okay? So that's how you get graded. Your points come from your form and your results. So today is about hitting it hard, just going for it, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'm really looking forward to this semester. I love the 8-week section of Mat Pilates because we get to practice it 4 times at least 3 times, but mostly 4 times a week for 8 weeks. So I feel like, you know, if you can find the time and the space, this is my space in my home where I'll be teaching the class, and hopefully you have a space in your home where you can make sure that you can get away by yourself, free of distractions, and just enjoy your time with me practicing and learning Mat Pilates, okay? So hopefully you have that place for yourself. A good idea is to have a foundation that you can practice. So if you have a wood floor like I do, I have a mat that I practice on. So if you have a mat, you'll want to use a mat. If you don't have a mat and you need it, you'll need to purchase one. Any yoga mat is fine. However, we do roll quite a bit on our spine, and do some exercises where it might be uncomfortable maybe for your knees or your spine. So you might want to get maybe a thicker mat, maybe an actual Pilates mat, okay? If you don't have a mat and you're going to be practicing on carpet or a rug, that's totally fine. Just see if that works for you, and if maybe you go through a couple weeks and you realize you do need a mat, then go ahead and purchase a mat, okay? That's it. Obviously, you want to be in comfortable, clothing, and be by yourself, and turn off your phones, unless you're using your phone for the exercises. But just try to be like one with yourself and myself, and free yourself of distraction, and this is your time, okay? And so your time to feel really good about yourself and do some really good things, okay? So we're gonna warm up first before we start our assessment. And so without teaching you too much about positioning and what we're practicing, we're just gonna go right into it, okay? So in a kneeling position, we're going to go ahead and practice what's called chest expansion. And so what we're trying to do is we're warming up the trunk, and we're warming up the trunk in a movement that requires your spine to change positions, okay? So if we're kneeling tall, our trunk is nice and tall, right? And when we are not tall, we are doing what's called scooping. And so we're rounding our spine. So what happens is I pull my hips slightly forward, and I push my middle of my back behind me by pulling my abdominals in and my shoulders forward. So I'm going to try and create this C position, okay, from a flat to a rounded position. So there's much dynamic going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my arms out to my sides. So this is chest expansion, tall trunk, arms out. And I'm going to round my arms forward like I'm starting to hug, and I'm tilting my hips forward, rounding my back, and then just hunching my shoulders forward. See this? And then I'm going to come back to tall, reach my arms out to my sides. While I'm doing this, I'm breathing. Inhaling and exhaling, nice and slow. And you'll start to feel the lumbar area, the lower back area, start to limber up a little bit. So we're increasing some flexibility in the spine and just warming up those muscles, okay? All right, so we're gonna bring our hands down to the mat. So we're in this table position here. And so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna do it with a version of a cat and a cow. So a cat position, we simply, again, pull the hips forward, round the back, and drop the head like we were in that kneeling chest expansion, right? So I'm pulling my abdominals up, rounding my back, pulling my hips slightly forward, and then I'm going to flex my back, push my hips back, pull my head up, drop my abdominal area into cow. And I'm going to go cat, tuck my hips under, round my back, drop my head, and cow. And I'm going to breathe through, continuously through this exercise. You'll start to feel that limbering up in the hips and the lower abdominal area, as well as the lumbar area and that lower back. Good. Okay, then we're going to go into what's called dynamics. So I'm going to bring my hands slightly forward, and I'm going to drop my hips down. My back is flat, okay? And from here, I'm going to transfer my weight back, keeping my hands in that starting position here, okay? So it's a little bit like child's pose in yoga. And so then I'm just going to come forward, drop my hips down, come back, pull my hips back. It's dynamic, and I'm breathing. One more. Good. Okay. So this is where we begin the assessment. So the assessment, you're going to write this down if you don't have the form, so you know which exercise is which for what, the results that you put down. You're going to write down breath duration. So that's the breathing part, right? And so for the breathing part, all we are doing is we're practicing breathing, and we're going to test one breath, okay? So you're going to sit up nice and tall, just in a comfortable position, and you're going to breathe. And how you're going to do this for the testing is that you're going to breathe very slowly, okay? So you're going to be very methodical with your thinking and your breathing, and you're going to pull your breath in either through your nose or your mouth or both, and pull it in as deep as you can, filling those lungs, right? Pulling your breath in, inhalation, right? Inhaling as deep as you can. Do not stop, hold your breath. You're going to transition very slowly into your exhale or your exhalation. And you're going to slowly push that breath out, away from your lungs, as slowly as you can and as far as you can, okay? So slowly in. Slowly transition. And then in. So you're slowing everything down, okay? So practice a few of those. And then the testing is you're just counting. So you'll need either a clock or you'll need your phone next to you for your clock, or somebody maybe can count for you, or you can count in your head. It's up to you. But you're going to time how long it takes you to breathe one time. So one breath is an inhalation and an exhalation. That's it. We're not holding our breath, we're just breathing. So I'm going to start counting as soon as I pull my breath into inhale. So as soon as I begin to breathe, which I'm inhaling first, I'm counting. So I go inhale, and I'm going to stop counting when I'm done exhaling. And then I'm going to look at my clock and write down my result. Okay, that's it. Counting for one breath, not holding your breath, completing the breath, starting the clock at inhale, stopping the clock at the end of the exhale, okay? So go ahead and pause the video right now and do your breath duration, write down your result, and then press play on the video and come on back. Okay, so you just did your breath duration. Hopefully it was a good one, right? It's going to be different. That's the way we're going to breathe in here. So if you're not used to slowing things down, and going slow is tough and challenging for you, you're going to have to get used to it really quickly. And so you're quickly going to have to slow down. Interesting. Anyway, we're going to move into what's called the 100. So write down 100 on your paper if you're doing that, or put it in your phone. So the 100 exercise, we do this every session as a warm-up, okay? So if we are practicing 4 times a week, we are doing 4 100 exercises, okay? So the 100 is a warm-up exercise that synchronizes our breathing with movement, with engagement of muscles, and activation of our brain. And we have to count and we have to coordinate. So there's a lot going on here. So today you're going to practice the 100. You're going to write down what your result is. So ultimately you want to try and complete the 100, right? The 100 represents 100 pumps of the arms, or 10 total breaths, okay? If you accomplish the 100, you're going to put 100 as your result. If you don't, and your form is sacrificed at some point, or you just stop, you need to know where you stopped, how many you accomplished, okay? So you're going to keep count. So I'm going to demonstrate what's happening here. All right. So we are in second level position for this 100 exercise. We will not start this way in the next session. We're going to modify the 100 in the next session. But for the testing, we want to actually test in a second level position. That means our legs are straight, okay? So watch me. I'm going to come down to my back. Now here's a little bit of teaching. Anytime my head comes up off the mat, I want to pull my chin down to my chest. So it looks like this. I'm going to look down at my belly button. I'm going to bring my shoulder blades up off the mat. Anytime I bring my shoulders off the mat, I'm going to scoop, which means I pull my abdominals in and I press my back down into the mat. So I'm connecting here. So chin to chest, scooping, okay? And then my legs are going to be straight, right above my hip pointers here, okay? So straight and elevated. So this is the position of the 100. Okay, so it's challenging to hold those legs up, okay? So the movement are the arms. So I'm going to pump my arms up and down, probably about 6 to 8 inches, up and down at my sides. My palms are facing down, my arms are straight. And how I'm pumping is I'm pumping 5 pumps for an inhale. So I'm going to inhale for 5 pumps of my arms, a 5 count, And then I'm going to exhale for a 5 count of 5 pumps of my arms. And that'll be 1 breath. Make sense? So it should look like this. Watch. Inhale. Exhale. That's 1. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep count on my hands, okay? Or I'm going to think about it, right? I'm going to keep count in my head how many breaths, how many total breaths I take so that I know where I finished. So if I go 10 total pumps, 1 breath, I'm going to drop my thumb. That's how I do this. And then I do another 10 pumps and 1 more breath and I drop my index finger. That's 2. And then so on. Middle finger, ring finger, pinky, and then I'm at 6 and I go over to the other hand and then I go to my 7 and then I go to my 8 and then maybe you stop, right? And you can't get to 90 or 9. I'm going to write down 8 or 80 on my sheet, okay? So I'm going to do this with you, and then if you stop short of 100, you're going to write down your results, so keep track. All right, so here we go. And we're going to lift the head, chin to chest, shoulders scooping, legs extended, arms pumping. Here we go. Good. So I just did 100. So I did 10 total breaths, 100 pumps, and so I'm going to go ahead and write down 100 next to 100. That's the 100 exercise, okay? All right, so go ahead and write down your results. The next exercise on your form is called the Fab 5. The 5 represents 5 exercises. So there's 5 exercises you're going to do in this test continuously, back to back to back until you finish. And we're going to do 5 repetitions of those 5 exercises. So you haven't learned anything, right? You haven't learned these exercises. So I'm going to teach you 1 exercise at a time. I'm going to talk it through, demonstrate it. You're going to practice a little bit just so you can get an idea of what it is. And then we're going to do the whole routine, the Fab 5 together, okay? So make sure you write down Fab 5 in your form, and we're going to go ahead and try this. Okay. So the first exercise is called a single leg stretch. You don't need to write this down. We're just going to practice it here, so watch me. Remember, anytime my head comes up, my chin drops to my chest. And then my shoulders come up, and I'm pressing my abs down into the mat by scooping, okay? I'm going to continuously breathe. I'm going to pull my knees in, hands over the knees, and I'm going to extend one leg out and pull the other knee in. And then I'm going to switch, extend the other leg out and pull the other knee in. So notice my trunk stays still. And I'm breathing and exchanging the legs. So right leg in, left leg in, that's 1, okay? That's how you count for an exercise where each leg is moving. All right, so that's called single leg stretch. All right, let's try double leg stretch. Head and shoulders up, both knees in, hands over the top. We're going to extend both legs out. Reach back with our arms, sweep our arms around and pull those knees in. That's 1. Out, breathing, 2, okay? So that's double leg stretch and rest. So you're going to feel a little discomfort in your neck. You're not used to holding your neck in this position for a very long time. That's totally normal. Do the best you can. The third exercise is crisscross. So the legs do the same work as single leg, and then our trunk is rotating across, okay? Opposite elbow to opposite knee. So it looks like this. Head and shoulders up. Do this with me. Knees in, hands behind the neck. And I'm going to extend my right leg and bring my right elbow across to my left knee. And then I'm going to switch. Left elbow to right knee. Shoulders stay off the floor. And I'm just rotating across, keeping my hips on the mat. Okay? Rest. That's crisscross. That's the third exercise. The fourth exercise is single straight leg stretch. So it's like single leg, but now our legs are straight. So try this with me. Legs up, head and shoulders up. Bring your hands behind your right leg. Drop your left. Drop your right. Okay? So right leg, left leg, that's one. And rest. Make sense? Anytime one leg is working, you have to drop both or move both for it to count as one. So that's the fourth exercise. The fifth exercise is double straight. So both legs are going to come down or drop, and then both legs are going to lift up. Okay? So let's practice this. Both legs up, head and shoulders up. Bring your hands behind your neck. Remember, we're still scooping and we're still breathing. We're going to drop both legs, lift both legs. Nice and slow. That's double straight. Rest. Okay? All right, so we're going to do all 5 exercises in a row. I'm going to do this with you. And you are going to stop when you need to stop, but you're going to make sure that you pay attention to when you stop, because that's what the result will be. So if I don't fulfill all 5 exercises, and let's just say I get to crisscross, which is the third, but I don't get to the 4th exercise, single straight, I get all the way through crisscross, but I don't get to single straight, then I'm going to put 3 down. That means I did 3 exercises. If I don't finish crisscross, that means I only accomplished 2 out of the 5, single leg and double leg. Make sense? Okay, so we're trying to do 5 of 5. Here we go. Knees in, head and shoulders up, single leg stretch. Ready? Right, left, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Double leg, both knees in, reach out, sweep around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Crisscross, hands behind your neck. Here we go. Left leg, right leg, that's 1, 2, 3, keep breathing. 4, and 5. Single straight, both legs up. Here we go. Right leg, left leg, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Double straight, both legs all the way up, hands behind your neck. Drop the legs, that's 1. Breathe, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And rest. Nice. Okay. Okay, so if you finished with me, you're going to write down 5 next to Fab 5. Okay, so that is your Fab 5 test. Nice job. Wherever you stopped, write down your result. 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm hoping everybody got at least 1. So the next test, I know that was tough. So maybe take a little bit of time before we go on to the next test. But the next test is called the roll-up. And a roll-up is very challenging. So please don't get discouraged if you can't do a roll-up the very first time. First of all, muscle memory is huge. Second of all, that comes from practice. We haven't. And then third of all, strength, right? And we just started. So roll up. We're going to do the best we can today, and we're just going to put down what we were able to accomplish. So a roll up, we will not practice rolling up the same way we do today that we do with our sessions. So today is second level roll up. So we are testing the strength of our hips and our abdominals in an actual roll up. So it's like a sit up with straight legs. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate. You're going to go ahead and come down onto your back and straighten your legs. And then you're going to reach back with your arms. Okay? So from here, keeping my legs connected to the mat, I'm going to sweep my arms forward. When I see my arms, I'm going to lift my head, chin to chest. I'm going to reach forward and bring my shoulder blades up off the mat. At that point, I'm engaging my abdominals. I'm pressing my back down. And I'm going to try and pull myself up with a rounded back and sit up and reach forward. If I can do that, I'm going to come down, keeping my back rounded. Come all the way down and reach back. So it looks like this in full motion. Sweep. Okay. All right, so some of you are going to do this. You're going to reach and you're going to lift, and then that's it. You're going to get stuck here. So what you're going to write down is that your shoulder blades get off the floor. So you write shoulder blades off floor, okay? Some of you are going to be able to lift the trunk, but you get stuck here. So you're going to write back off the floor. It's whatever your result is, okay? And then the others, if you can get past your back off the floor, I'm going to assume that you can get all the way up, and you're going to write 1 roll up, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, try to do 1 roll up, that's it, just 1. And then write down your result and then press play and come back. All right, you guys, you did your roll up, you tried to do your roll up. So the next one is push up, leg pull down. So you're gonna write down push up, leg pull down. You're going to decide if you're gonna do this in a modified push up or a traditional push up. So if you can do a push up with your knees off the floor, you're going to write down traditional or circle traditional. If you know you can't do that and you're going to do a push-up with your knees on the mat, you're going to circle modified on the form, or just you'll actually just write down modified, okay? So you decide which one you're going to do. I'm going to demonstrate what the pull down is with the push-up. So this is a modified with my knees down on the mat. So I'm going to go ahead and get into my push-up position, which is my hands are about shoulder width apart, and I'm leading my shoulders. My hands are in front of my shoulders. My hips are down. I'm going to lower my entire trunk, and then I'm going to go into plank, and then I'm going to lift 1 leg, and I'm going to transfer my weight back onto my heel, and then come back to plank, lift the other leg, transfer my weight, back to plank, bring my knees down. That's 1. And then I'm going to try and do more of those until I stop, keeping count, okay? So that's for modified push-up leg pull down. If you're gonna do a traditional, obviously your knees are off the mat. So you're gonna keep count of how many traditional push-up leg pull downs you do. You don't get to stop and restart after a break. These are continuous, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, do your push-up leg pull down, write down your result, and then come on back. All right, you guys, you just finished your push-up leg pull down. Now we're gonna move on to the spine stretch. That's what you'll write down, spine stretch. This is, your result is an actual description of where your hands drop on the mat. So the position you put yourself in is with an open V of your legs. So if you have a mat, just put your feet on the outside of the width of your mat. Otherwise, just open your legs so that your feet are outside your hips, okay, the width of your hips. We are going to practice this exercise just to get warm, to limber up our lower back, our glutes, our hamstrings, and then create some kind of muscle memory, right, for our testing. Okay, so we're gonna reach up, we're gonna pitch forward. So we're going to hinge forward at the hips, keeping our back flat. And then I'm going to round my back and pull my hands in towards the midline of my body. So my shoulders are hunched, my back is scooped or rounded. And then I'm going to come up tall, flat back, arms reaching up, starting again. So it's forward, back, up, flat back, rounded back, flat back. You should feel your hamstrings, your glutes, your lumbar area, your lower back start to limber up, increasing some flexibility here, okay? So now the test, we're going to reach forward, go as far as we can, pitching forward, and then we're just going to lower our hands to the mat, and that's the distance that we're going to test, okay? So it looks like this. Now, with my hands down, I'm going to write down where my hands fall on my wrists or my fingertips, okay? So I'm going to put my wrists are at my heels. That's what my test result is. Some of you, it might be fingertips at heels. So you go down here, and this is as far as you can go. And then you lower your hands. And then it's wherever, whatever you want to write down. Maybe wrists at ankles, fingertips at mid-shin, fingertips at ankles, whatever it is. All right, so go ahead and write that down next to spine stretch. All right, so we're gonna turn over. So we have Superman pulls, and so I'm gonna demonstrate this exercise as well. We're testing our back strength and endurance, stamina. So come over onto your tummies and reach your arms forward. So the Superman is the lifting of the arms and the legs. See that? The pull is the arms coming back to the sides. Watch me. I lift, I pull my elbows back at my sides with my hands next to my shoulders. I reach forward, and then I lower arms and legs. So the test is, how many can you do until you need to stop? So make sure you're breathing while you're practicing Superman pulls, slowing it down, and then when you're done, you're done. Whatever you feel good about, and then you'll write down your result. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video. Do your Superman pulls, write down your result, and then come on back. All right, so you just finished your Superman pulls, And the final test is the personal goals. So what you're doing at this point is you're just going to be very thoughtful about what you'd like to accomplish or see improvements in, okay? Or something specific to why you've taken this class. These are goals. So keep these in mind, these things in mind. Keep time in mind. So it's 16 weeks, sorry, it's 8 weeks, right? It's 8 weeks. All right, so you just finished Superman Pulls, and so the next test is all right, so you just finished Superman Pulls. Hopefully you feel really accomplished about what you've done. The next thing we're going to do is write down some personal goals, okay? So the testing is done, and you're going to just go ahead and write down some personal goals that you might have for the class. So be very thoughtful, be realistic about what you would like to accomplish. Consider the fact that we're only working out for 8 weeks, right? It's 4 times, you know, for most of the semester per week that we will be meeting. So your goals might have to do with maybe the assessment that we did today, right? I would like to see you be very specific about what you write down or put down on your form. And what I mean by that is try to stay away from just generalizations like increased strength. Well, what does that mean, right? So try to be very specific about what you'd like to accomplish or improve upon. If it has to do with the breathing, be specific about that. If it has to do with maybe the quantity of work that you put in, that you don't want to miss more than 2 classes for the whole 8 weeks. You'd like to finish the semester in good standing. It might have to do with upper body strength, your push-up leg pull downs. It might have to do with flexibility. Whatever it is, just be very specific about it because you want to see yourself able to demonstrate it later to show the improvement. Does that make sense? So write down whatever you want so that when we come back to the final 8 weeks and we do this all again and you look at your goals from 8 weeks ago, you can say, yes, I did that. Yes, I did that. And how? How were you able to see that? Okay? So that's all you're doing. Write down some personal goals. So remember, what you're going to do is you're going to take all of these results and you're going to make sure you've downloaded the form, put your results into the form, save the form, and then submit that form to me inside Canvas. If you have any problems with the Canvas site, just reach out to me. You have until Sunday at 11:55 to submit those results back to me. That's how you get your grade, your points. And then I will see you at the next session. Okay? All right, good job. See you later.